What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Prototype in 2022. That's right, I'm back. Prototype is back, I guess, at least in my mind. And I want to make this video, for you guys. The Prototype videos that I make seem to get really, really good reception. I think probably because we're all on the same page of just honestly liking a franchise quite a bit that seems very, or has kind of always been very misunderstood, kind of that forgotten child, the one that didn't sell very well, with mass audiences. But, as I've said in the other Prototype videos I've made over the years, I love this franchise. I specifically love 1. I'm not the biggest fan of 2, specifically story and character-wise, but I will never say no, to the game franchise returning. So I want to talk about it in 2022. There's actually and I want to give credit, because I normally don't give credit to gaming journalists, but I want to do it in this one. There's actually a really, really good Prototype article from Cultured Vultures, and they wrote an entire kind of just essay about the history of Prototype, and they did it kind of in the middle of 2021. That was a really good article, so if you guys want to read that, there's the website for it. And in a way, I would say overall, it kind of made me very much less optimistic of a Prototype ever happening. Not that I was ever super certain that this was ever going to happen. Again, I think honestly where we are with Prototype is a remaster, right? Probably not even a remake. And which, by the way, let's not forget, we did get a quote unquote remaster on last gen, which was PS4, Xbox One. However, that was literally just a port. It wasn't really a remaster. So when I say remaster, I actually mean it, unlike Activision, who didn't really mean it. That's kind of where we're at. And funny enough, again, the article kind of gave me, I don't know, renewed sense of, or I guess just sense in general of, you got to remember, Prototype was canceled by them, right? They canceled Prototype. They canceled the studio, Radical Entertainment. They destroyed the studio over Prototype not reaching seemingly mass appeal, going out to the masses and doing really, really well outside of its just, general group. And that would signal Activision's, reluctance to do anything with it. You know what I mean? That in itself, I think, shows Activision doesn't care too much about it. Now, again, I think a remaster makes a lot of sense to me because it's not the most work in the world. However, the longer you go from these games, Prototype 2 actually turns 10 years old, if you can believe it, next year in April. And Prototype 1 came out, June of 2009. So that game is 12 and a half years old, almost going to be, 13. So it's been a long time since, specifically the first one came out. Remaster tends to not be as, I don't know, preferable as you continue the years. It almost becomes you need to remake it. But remaking takes a lot of money, takes a lot of resources that I don't know if Activision, would do. The article did bring up a good point, though. Other people could always try to bid for it, now, or other companies. Now, I don't really think that is a high likelihood. Really, what you would need is some very savvy and smart company, right? And I don't even know, THQ, I don't know how savvy or smart they really are, or even Embracer Group, right? But you need a company that can kind of see that they do have, or Prototype as a franchise does have a following, and say, okay, well, we don't want to lose money on this, but we do think a remaster could make sense. And then if a remaster does solid, what? I guess one optimistic thing I will say is what fails for one company doesn't immediately mean it fails for another. Do you know what I mean? Activision's a good example. Even EA. Remember when Battlefield 5 came out and it was a colossal failure. The game sold 7-8 million units in the first month or two, and they called it a disappointment because they wanted 10 to 12 million. So you know what I mean? So if Battlefield sold for another publisher and it sold 8 million, maybe they wanted 3 to make it, to make money back and to make revenue. So, you know what I mean? So even for Prototype, Activision, the first one, we know for sure the first one, I believe, sold over 2 million units in the first year, right? That's great. Maybe that's great. To Activision, maybe they wanted 5, so 2 just wasn't cutting it. But if a THQ gets it, and again, it's long shot because you have to bid for it, you have to literally buy it off of Activision, right? But if say a THQ does it and they say, well, 1.5 million would be fine, and it got 3, it'd be oh my dear God, what a grand success, even though If it was for Activision, that would still be a failure. So I guess the positivity side of that, or the positive side of that, would be that. That's really the only way I would look at it as a positive. Under Activision right now, and by the way, you have to keep in mind, Activision is in a little bit of a pickle right now with a couple different things. Number one, making all their studios Call of Duty studios, at least leading into Vanguard, and now they're back to their normal work. So, maybe somebody's was doing Prototype or will do Prototype in the future, but that's kind of a long shot. But you have that. So you have their, I would say, mismanagement with their own studios. You also have the stuff, behind the scenes going on, with like the culture of Activision. That stuff needs to get solved. I don't really think it's the marketplace or I don't know. I don't think the company's in the right spot right now to really do anything with it. However, they're not going to let remasters, they're not going to let remakes go. I mean, Tony Hawk, Diablo 2's remake. Now, some of these things are more popular. Like, I think Tony Hawk, especially the Pro Skater 1 and 2, right? I think those are probably more popular than Prototype, even though they're different genres and they're very, very different genres, right? Diablo 2, like Diablo is a very, very popular franchise. So, but they don't seem to let things go, which is kind of a good thing, right? With like Crash and Spyro. I think as long as they're in, and they've talked about it, right, over the past 2-3 years, that they are in like a remaster remake mode, that they're going to actively be doing this. As long as that is something they're still doing, I think Prototype always has a shot to be at least remastered, which I think would be at least a start. Absolutely. I mean, because you never know. You never know with the games like that when they get a remaster or a remake, and then maybe they sell better than what they think. Then all of a sudden you have a new, you have a renewed sense of, okay, we can actually do this, right? So that's the Activision approach. And then if we get nothing from Activision, the only optimistic side of Prototype happening would be somebody else kind of swooping in there, which I would assume is very, very low. Maybe if they did like a remaster and it did really well, but they still didn't want to do anything with it, and then somebody else came in and said, well, we'll do something, maybe that would work, you know what I mean? So we'll have to see. So I don't think we'll get anything in 2022. Yet again, I assume there will be some sort of remaster remake push from Activision next year, and maybe Prototype is one of them. So there definitely is still a little optimism, just not, a ton. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitter or subscribe to my second channel or support us on Patreon or YouTube memberships, links for them all are in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video.